Going live. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Patricia Juba here, founder of A Life Worth Living Corp. And today, this afternoon, I have a special guest.
Hello.
Yes,
Do you want me to introduce myself?
not yet. I'm introducing you.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. This is people, these are our first time go streaming live on YouTube. On YouTube, we have our special guest. So this is really live. So we have Todd BREITENSTEIN with us. He is the founder and owner of Our Grateful Garden, Inc.
Well, hello out there in YouTube land. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes. Welcome to you, Todd. And we are going to dive into the questions. Are you hearing me? Good. Can you tell us about your journey and how you started Our Grateful Garden, Inc.?
So, Our Grateful Garden is a nonprofit, and how I ended up there, you know, it isn't one singular event. There is one catalyzing event that happened, but for the most part, it's been my whole entire life. I had a moment not long ago where I realized that everything in my life had led up to this moment and that I wouldn't change a thing. And it was really beautiful and full of grace and just this wonderful realization that everything had always been working in my favor. Even the things that I thought were tremendous setbacks had always been in my best interest. And learning to accept that and seeing and being grateful for all of those people was really enlightening. Um, and then I was about a year after the pandemic had started, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 18 months, we were finally able to go back into church in person. And we were spaced. There was at least a set of pews in between each one of us, and we were all wearing masks. And I felt this like chill on my neck. It felt
Um,
like a breeze going down my neck. And so I turned to look and see. It felt like somebody was blowing on me. But of course, we were spaced, and the people behind me, two rows away, were wearing masks. And when I
Todd, can
turned,
we start this over again because the streaming is not working?
oh,
It's
yes, of
double
course,
echoing. So I'm gonna just record
and not do the live thing.
and not do the live because it's echoing. It's
Okay.
like I have two screens going, and
Oh,
so you're not hearing me as I'm introducing you. So I'm gonna start this
yeah,
as
it's weird because there was these long pauses, and I was like, wait, is she not like, why? What's happening? That's why I
exactly.
kept saying, wait, am I doing this?
No, no,
Yes,
no, no.
okay.
So I'm gonna start this all over. Please forgive me.
No, it's all good.
Good afternoon, Patricia Juba here. I am the founder of A Life Worth Living Corp and this podcast. And this afternoon, we have a very special guest with us today. It is Todd BREITENSTEIN, and he is the founder and president of Our Grateful Garden, Inc. Welcome, Todd, to our
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you.
Thank and We are so happy to have you here. I look forward to hearing all about your journey and how you started Our Grateful Garden, Inc.
Excellent. Me too. I'm very excited.
Okay, so tell us all about your journey.
So I wish I could say it was just one singular event that had led to the founding of Our Grateful Garden. It's a lifetime. When I really look at everything that happened that led me to the founding of Our Grateful Garden, it really
Mhm,
was a lifetime of events and everything that I'd been doing since I was a young child had always inspired me to be part of nature. Gardens had always been part of my life. Businesses that I started, even going back into high school, were around gardening. And the store that I opened was around gardening and growing vegetables. And the store closing led to the garden that you see behind me being placed at that church.
mhm,
That church led me to actually re-embracing being part of a church body. It also helped me to get sober, which was a big part of the journey.
oh,
I had a moment probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago, where I was looking at my life and realized that everything in my entire life had led up to that moment and that whether I wanted to or not, changing anything wouldn't have changed anything. And I was full of gratitude, and I realized that no matter how I sliced it, everything was always working in my favor, that there was always a plan for me to end up where I am. And the good, the bad, and the ugly was to be grateful for and to accept pain for what it is. It's part of the experience. It's
yes,
part
it is.
of being alive and being grateful for that and not resisting it and smiling at it. It
Mhm,
was a big part of that. And then, um, in terms of the actual moment when I realized that I should start the nonprofit, it actually was in the sanctuary in the church that's over my shoulders there. It
mhm,
was it was around 18 months after the pandemic. We finally were able to go back into the sanctuary, and I
mhm,
was sitting in the pews. We were socially distanced, wearing masks, and I felt a chill on my neck. It felt like a kind of like a warm breeze, but a chill went down my spine. I turned to look behind me to see if somebody was blowing on me. That's really what it felt like. Of course,
mhm,
we were two pews apart and wearing masks. And
right.
when I turned to look back to the front of the sanctuary, I heard as clear as day, Todd, you need to turn the Grateful Garden into a nonprofit and donate gardens to recovery. And
That is amazing.
that led me
Yes.
to go to AA meetings
Mhm,
because I needed to find out about what recovery was about. And I had been sober at that point for a while, doing it on my own. Well,
mhm,
I was reading a book also every day. That was a daily devotional, and
mhm,
that was very beneficial. But the that was the impetus for me to um, start the nonprofit. So I started the nonprofit and I
mhm,
got a board up and running and it I sort of got a board up and running. Actually, it wasn't it's very challenging to
yes.
get people to join. I had plenty of people volunteering to help and we installed a couple of gardens at some recovery homes. And I so what's so beautiful is that every time, like I actually posted onto Facebook, I finally figured it out. All who wander are not lost, and take take heart, don't worry about Todd, like I got it figured out. And I'm telling you, the minute I did that, like, the circle just got wider. And I've
Mm-hmm.
come to understand that every time I think I have something figured out, that's just a stepping stone. And
Yes.
the path gets broader, the steps get a little further apart or closer together, however
Mm-hmm.
it's meant to be. But we never have, and we never will have a complete understanding of the universe. It's not possible. It's not how it works. Like we're just supposed to experience this time and do our best to realize our oneness. And I have been studying what would ecological restoration for decades now. And we think about ecological restoration as here is this ecosystem, something in nature that has been disturbed and
Mm-hmm.
then needs to be restored. And what I've come to understand through this garden behind me is that restoration of ecosystems isn't just a natural thing, it's actually us, the human, that needs the restoration. We're just a reflection
Yes.
of nature. We are nature and we are in need of major restoration. It's part of what we come here for is to learn how to uh, come back into ourselves, to realize our oneness with our creator, that there isn't a separation, and the separation was created by our egos, by our minds, and that we think that we're separate, and that causes us all of our diseases. It causes us all of
Mm-hmm.
our social and economic conditions to be out of alignment. And what we realized through the garden was that our intention was to grow food for the food pantry that the church
Mm-hmm.
hosts. And that would be, a small thing that we could do to provide some nutrient dense food to the um, the patrons that come to the food pantry, and that would help address food insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was just a way to say that we care.
Right.
And that
Exactly.
has come to fruition. What we didn't realize that there would be all these other things that would happen as part of that, where the
Mm-hmm.
space would come to be a place where the people could come and heal. And yeah, they get that where they're doing that just for them, and they take that with them, and it's special
Mm-hmm.
and beautiful. But we have picnic tables where they sit and they can linger, and then people from the community come in and they sit. And when it really hit me that the potential impacts that we can have by creating spaces like this are
Mm-hmm.
far greater than a handful of tomatoes and beans, and we do more than that. But was I was in an adjacent town. I think I was getting coffee. I don't know. A conversation came up with someone, and they
Mm-hmm.
asked me what I did, and I'm like, well, I do so many things. I don't really just have one job technically. But I said one of the things that I do is I run the food pantry garden for the Weymouth Food Pantry, and it's at Old South Union Church in Weymouth. And they were like, "You mean that big white hospital behind South Shore Hospital?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the one." And they were like, "Oh my God, I've been in your garden." And they
And it
explained.
sounds beautiful how you describe it. I love the way how you describe the oneness that people experience
Mhm.
from being in the garden. That's amazing. I
So
like that.
they said that they were at the hospital having a really hard time. Their mom had been sick and she was had a prolonged stay, and they just needed to get out of the hospital.
Hmm.
And they found themselves in the garden praying and had received such solace in that space. And
Hmm.
that's when I realized that we can have a huge impact with this type of space.
Right.
And so recovery, that I need to donate gardens to recovery, isn't
Hmm.
necessarily limited to drug and alcohol recovery,
Right.
but
Right.
that it's,
Healing.
yes, every,
Yes, that's what it comes in my spirit. It's the healing of
yeah,
the
when,
atmosphere.
yeah, when you think
Yes.
about food insecurity or addiction, they're not isolated. They go hand in
Right.
hand with homelessness or
That's right.
home insecurity, recidivism with incarceration.
Hmm.
There's a circle that happens in there where either you're hungry, maybe you commit a crime, or you're in addiction and you commit a crime, but then you get out and you're lacking purpose. You're not feeling connected, right? It's
Hmm.
so much about what you do as well as you're in
Yes.
that circle that I'm describing. So saying
Yes.
to the community, hey, we believe that this small of a space with the right intention
Hmm.
can tell you that, you know what, there are people out there that understand or at least care enough to say, hey, we're going to do this.
Right.
You can come and volunteer, or you can attend a workshop, you can be inspired. And even if it's just for a day, we don't know how great the impact is
That's right.
that goes with them and who they might interact with, right?
Hmm.
So healing ourselves is so much more than what we know.
That.
Like I feel great when I wake up in the morning because I am well.
Hmm.
Every
Yes.
person that I interact with throughout the rest of that day is healed as well. And then if you think about the oneness, the connection, my
Yes.
thoughts aren't always alone. I don't know if they're shared. If I look at somebody with a dirty stink eye and they don't see me, I
Right.
that doesn't mean that they don't feel it or that their
That's true.
mind isn't connecting to that, right? So if I'm looking
Hmm.
at somebody and I'm judging them and thinking, wow, their clothes are terrible or they shouldn't eat that food, they need to go on a diet, I don't know that that isn't going to.
Communicated some in some fashion.
Absolutely. And so what
Yes.
I've learned from the plants is that their energy, their medicine, I receive it. So I
Hmm.
believe wholeheartedly that I don't have to ingest a plant to receive the medicine, but that just by being in its space, it's
Hmm.
transmitting its medicine to me. And
That's
so
right.
if it's happening with the plants and me, why would I not then believe that it's happening between the same exact species, between me and my brothers and sisters out there?
Right.
So I try everywhere I go to um, think positively about everything, no matter whether it's a negative or a positive, just to always respond in a positive way. I'm not perfect at this, but
Right. Because this is a daily walk. It's a
yes,
daily. We're learning all the time if we allow ourselves to learn, not be closed off and closed minded, and and put ourselves in a box
yeah.
that we don't need to be in because we stunt our own growth by doing that.
I think that one of the questions you have is about self-care, and
Oh,
this
yes.
it aligns perfectly with this, is that self-care that I do is nature. Like like I feel when I need to go take a hike, right? So I need to go get in connection to the land. So I'm a
Hmm.
firm believer that when I'm in nature, I'm healing myself. And
Hmm.
so I take long walks, I take hikes. Some people might meditate for 2 hours a day. I consider my hikes to be my meditation. I also sit and meditate as well. It's been life changing for me. It's taking a few minutes every morning just to sit, say a few prayers, some gratitude,
Yes.
and then take some deep breaths, focus, and just kind of do some breathing, which I also do when I take a hot bath and read a book and put on a
Yes.
face mask.
There's all kinds of ways for self-care, but it is powerful to hear the male point of view of what self-care is for you and for
Yeah,
other men that may be listening to this podcast.
I
It's
hope they
important to
are.
know we do it. It's not just a woman thing. It's not only hair. It's not nails or shopping therapy. It's males have self-care as well.
Hmm.
That doesn't include the TV always, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's true. And I mean, especially the news, like you can't do any amount of self-healing, whatever gender you are, if you're watching the news. Like that's at the one of the very first things I've realized in my self-care journey was I stopped watching the news.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
Oh, yes.
It's a
I'm
huge
with
deal.
you on that.
So that was transfer. That was actually something I gave up the news for Lent, like I don't know, 5 years ago, and it changed my life forever.
Hmm.
And that doesn't involve having to do anything woo woo or foofy or anything like that. I can
Right.
just cut that out of my life. It's time I save, but it's my blood pressure and what
Hmm.
that does to my subconscious to be constantly bombarded with a message of fear that there's something to be fearful of. And I for me there's nothing to be afraid of. There isn't. I believe fully in the wisdom that has been passed down from this earth and from all different modalities of spiritual experience all around the planet.
Hmm.
All different cultures have found that a similar understanding that there is no life and there is no death, that there's only one. And I truly believe that our fixation on death in the West is a huge part of why we have so much sickness,
Okay.
is fear of the death makes us focus on illness. And we're so fixated on illness that we're actually manifesting it in our lives.
As opposed to staying in the healing elements.
Yes, which is this moment, right? So if you think that the past still exists and you think the future is something that you can control or worry over, then where you are in this moment is not a healthy place to be. Your blood pressure is going to go up. All of like the number one killer in this country is cardiac related, right? So if we're going to think about death, that your like your body, your physical body, it all centers around the heart, right? What's the first thing that happens when a human is conceived is the heartbeat, right? The first part of our formation is the heart,
Hmm.
right? So the heart is actually able to live without the brain, right? You can go into a coma and be brain dead, your heart still keeps going, and you can live for quite some time after your brain stops, right? So
Yes.
this taking care of this, one of the easiest ways to do that is to reduce stress. How does that?
That's
Self-care.
right.
Go for a
Self-care.
hike in
That's
the
right.
woods. Get into gardening, right? Have a hobby that's non-competitive, right? Do puzzles, right?
I grew up doing puzzles. We loved it. That was a family thing with my mother
It's
and
okay to
my
cook
sisters.
too.
It's
Embrace
beautiful.
cooking. You don't just
Yes.
have to grill, you can cook.
Yes.
Right? Like I love making a
That's
meal for
mine.
myself.
It's cooking.
It is, yeah. It's
Yes.
super
I love
therapeutic. And
cooking.
when you're in a good space and you're feeling well, that goes into the food and then you share that.
That's right. That's the
All these
love you
things are
put
real.
cooking with love. It is. I
Yeah.
grew up with that. So, thank you so much for what you've shared so far. It's beautiful how you express yourself and how these gardens help with the healing process that we all so need to keep walking in. I have an additional question. What is the best advice you can give someone who is just starting out as an entrepreneur?
Make a plan for how to clone yourself because you're going to be really great for a long time at wearing all the hats and you're going to take a lot of pride in that. And that
Mhm.
is warranted and justified. And how you learn your business is by doing every aspect of the business. But then there will become a day when you've been successful and there you need someone to do your job. And it's going to be
Right.
very hard to let go of the reins. We all love to be in charge and be the director. And so preparing yourself at the beginning for what that looks like when you are successful, because you will become successful, but you'll fail if you don't have a plan for how to get out of the way of yourself. Because then you won't be able to expand and you'll get burned out. I'm speaking from experience. I did this in a business and I didn't have a plan for how to deliver the level of service that I had been delivering
Mm-hmm.
myself. And then hiring people that could do what I had been doing to the level of expectation of both my customers and myself,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and not being able to let go of the reins. And so that might be easy for some people. For me, it was very challenging. And I just see it in a lot of um, small businesses that start, especially in the service industries, um,
Mm-hmm.
where there isn't necessarily a plan for how to expand. I guess would be the easy way to say that. It's just, yeah, I think that's it. So be grateful to yourself and know that you're going to need a clone of yourself. So make that part of the plan, like to groom someone or bring an intern along, something, somehow get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with that before you even get too far into it. Because it's your baby, right? Nobody wants to give up
Yes.
their baby.
Exactly. That's it. You took the words right out of my mouth, Todd. Exactly what I was going to emphasize, because it's your baby. All right. So, Todd, do you have any upcoming events or workshops or seminars that you do that you have prepared for 2025?
I have a lot of engagements with garden clubs in
Okay.
2025 where I'm doing lectures for garden clubs. I'm also involved in an organization called South Shore Permaculture that I helped found 2 years ago. It's also kind of why the nonprofit went like this, is because I
Okay.
got involved in that. It's beautiful, and we're kicking off our 2025 um, permaculture design course. It's a 25-week online and in-person. It's a certificate program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still technically time for people to enroll in that. That takes up a lot of time. And then just in terms of open public things, do I have anything that's happening right now? Not really. I think we're working on some things. I would say that for to follow me and see what comes up. I'm sure will be some library events. I think that there's something in Rockland that's tentative on the books to do one of my lectures called Goodbye Lawn. I do a lot of public speaking
Mm-hmm.
around gardening and sustainable gardening practices. That would be the big thing where you could actually meet me, and would be on Saturdays during the growing season at the church garden at Old South. We have from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're in the garden every Saturday, and it's
Okay.
volunteer driven, and we are there planting and harvesting every week for at least 10 weeks during the growing season, at least May to through October. So
Yeah.
May to the
Okay.
beginning of November, I'm there every Saturday. It's a great chance for people to come and see how we're growing things and to meet me. We share so much knowledge and wisdom around how to grow things on those Saturdays.
Okay. Nice.
We're always open to people coming and chatting and just seeing what we're doing, pitching in, helping out. That's definitely that's an option. That would be great. I love when people come by the garden and just take a tour and meet the other
Mm-hmm.
volunteers. There's experienced gardeners. There's people who just come and help and we just show them what to do. It's fantastic. We've had the best, just odd random conversations that come up where meeting people where they're at in
Yes,
that space, that's been really healing, really informative. Every weekend is beautiful.
it sounds beautiful. I can't wait to see it myself. It sounds like I need to take a trip down there
Mhm.
and experience your garden.
Yes. And hopefully we'll be installing gardens closer to you. That is the goal now, is to move forward. So finding really, I would love to meet people or have people reach out to me that would be interested in joining our Grateful Garden. I'm especially looking for board diversity. Um,
Mhm,
I, I One of the things about permaculture is that we always talk about is colonization, and we talk a lot about indigenous rights and land,
mhm,
and just acknowledging that I am a white guy from the suburbs, and knowing that I can't truly understand the impacts that the garden could have
mhm.
without diversity on my board, um, for for so many reasons.
So, yes, there's so many reasons that how do you pick the one? No,
I,
I
other
understand.
than just acknowledging that I realize that I'm a white guy from the suburbs, like that's the
Yes,
step number one, right? And
that's right.
knowing that I'm
That's right.
open,
Yes,
absolutely, it's a huge deal. Like people's
yes,
mouths fall open sometimes when I say that, for real. That
yes. I know, I understand. So,
I'm not trying to hide that I don't understand fully the benefits that that has given me. It's not why I want to get back. The reason why I want to interact is because I truly believe in the healing of all humanity.
yes.
Loving all humanity is
Hmm.
one of our special roles. Like that's an amazing gift that we've been given the
Yes,
challenge of doing, and that is our God-given right to come to learn how to love each other.
exactly. I am with you on that. For those of the folks that are watching this podcast, how can they get in contact with you?
So my email address is todd@ourgratefulgarden.org. That's easy. So todd@ourgratefulgarden.org. And
Hmm.
there's a spot on my website for contacting me as well, which is ourgratefulgarden.org. There's always also The Grateful Garden. As The Grateful Gardener, I also have a website for that. That's where I offer my personal services to people for um, healing and
Hmm.
garden coaching and some small garden installations, but mostly design. There's a lot on my website about me and what I offer, and really just trying to meet people in a place where I can show them that plants have this beautiful ability to help us learn how to heal ourselves.
Hmm.
That when I was talking about the heart earlier, the amount of power that's in our hearts to self-heal is unbelievable, unbelievable. And so how
Yes.
we interact with our heart is a first step to how we interact with other people out there. And the better we interact with other people out there, the more we heal ourselves. Right? It's a
Amen.
wonderful, wonderful thing. So I love to talk to people about that, and the plants will do the rest for me. They've done it for me, and
Mhm.
I just need to get you into a place where I we can open those doors, and you will be led in a beautiful way. Mother Nature never fails to show up for us when we're willing to offer her gratitude and offer her a willingness to listen, and it's beautiful, 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 beautiful place to be.
Well, thank you, Todd. I have enjoyed my time with you. Thank you for all that you have shared and showing us the beautiful garden behind you and your backdrop. I thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure people will be reaching out to you. you're on all social media platforms, Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Are you on Instagram?
I do have Instagram. I'm an artist, so my primary activity on Instagram is I put my art on there.
Oh, great. Wonderful thing to know as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Yes, you did say you do a lot of things, and certainly you do. And the healing process with your gardens is amazing. And I can't wait to walk through it when
Yes.
the warmest seasons come into
Yeah,
play,
definitely.
of
Yeah,
course.
that's super exciting.
Yes, it is exciting for me. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all your knowledge. And we thank you for being with us on this podcast. Patricia Juba here. If anyone would like to contact me to be on our next guest, please contact me on my email at pjuba at alifeworthlivingcorp.org, and so we can connect. Have a wonderful afternoon and God bless. How was that for you?
I thought it was great.
Me
Fun.
too.
Nice. I think people will find it very interesting.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to post it. And like I said, this is my first time trying to do the YouTube thing, and I see a YouTube icon on top where I stopped the recording. So I hope everything did stop. If not, it's a learning lesson.
Oh, well, it's not like we were bashing YouTube or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
never. That's never my vein. Thank you for
I hope you will come to the garden.
yes,
Yeah, that would be
yes,
awesome.
I would love to um go there and experience
Yeah. And
the whole
you're,
presence of that because you remember how I was talking to you about what I see in trees?
yes.
And you were the first one that I could talk about it with an understanding, with the understanding that you have.
What town are you in?
I am in Taunton.
In Taunton, that's right. Okay.
I'm in Taunton. I'm from Boston.
Hmm. And
Yes.
you're the minister at a church in Taunton?
I was connected where I ministered in a church, but now I'm in another church that I just connected to called the Waved Church.
And that's in
But I
Taunton?
minister to those who I am ordained and I minister to the women that I serve.
Ah, beautiful.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sure.
I did.
I'm sure yeah, that's huge. Everywhere
Yes,
we go, we're all ministers of God.
that's right. That's right.
Hmm. Some
That's
more
right.
active than others.
That's right. But we do have opportunities to minister to it, especially when we've come through painful um, ordeals or stances and found that there was actually the guiding to your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible when you ask for help,
Yes,
it comes. It just isn't always the way that you expect. And sometimes it hurts a little bit more
right.
before you fully realize that, oh, now I see that you were helping me. Thank you. That sucked.
Right, 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 right.
But but now I see that you were there and you were definitely helping me.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Todd, I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. It
I
was so
have to
great to
head to
connect.
Boston now.
Yes. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
I'll see you in the garden.
Yes, you will. Okay.